So today I'm going to be talking about Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry from 1974. Uh, kind of my history with this movie. This is not a movie I ever planned on watching, and it's not even a movie I had ever heard of. So a couple of months ago, I picked up this double feature here. I bought it because I wanted to watch Race with the Devil. Now, obviously, it's a double feature, so it's got Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry on the other disc. So I figured I gotta watch it. I have it. There's no reason for me not to watch it. So I gave it a watch, and yeah, let's talk about it. This movie was directed by John Hugh. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he was known for directing horror movies in the early 70s. And he even did the Avengers TV show in the late 60s that was really well liked. He did some Disney stuff. He did kind of a broad variety, but he seemed to most of what he's done seems to be, fairly well regarded. And he's even done some producing as late as 2013. So, the man's in his 80s now. I don't know if he's still working. I'm assuming he's retired at this point over the last 10 years. But he had a long, lengthy, and pretty successful career. I wasn't familiar. I hadn't seen any of the movies that he had directed in the past. I had heard of a lot of them, but just hadn't seen any of them. But I got to say, now that his work is on my radar, I am definitely going to pursue some of his other movies, especially his early horror stuff. I'd really like to see that. So, yeah, really impressed with this guy's work. So here you've got Larry, played by Peter Fonda. He is a aspiring professional driver. Like he wants to drive in the big leagues, NASCAR, I think. He's got the skill, but he doesn't have the money. He wasn't born into money like a lot of NASCAR drivers. He doesn't have any sponsors. He needs to come up with cash to buy his own car. The only way he sees that that's ever going to happen is he's going to have to come up with a scheme to steal it. So you've got him, you've got his mechanic Deke, played by Adam Rourke, and you've got Mary, played by Susan George. She is just a woman that he meets along the way. Larry is a bit of a womanizer. He's kind of a scoundrel, kind of a scumbag, but he's charming in his own right. So him and Deke come up with a scheme to steal a sizable chunk of money from a grocery store. They were going to take the money, leave town, buy a car that he can drive in the big leagues. So this basically turns into these kinds of movies were really popular in the 70s, and I'm not huge, like my 70s movie knowledge is not vast. It's kind of slim actually, but I know that these kinds of movies were pretty popular in the 70s, basically car chase movies. You got famous movies like Bullet, and God, there's a number of others that many that I probably don't know about, but so I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. As I mentioned, the other characters, you got Mary. She's just a regular girl. You kind of learn more and more about her as the movie progresses. She kind of paints herself as this person who's done some pretty big things. But as you get to know her more and more, you learn that she just kind of tells tales. She's a good person. She's associated with some nefarious characters. She's maybe not always been treated very well by people that she has let into her life. And then you've got Deke, who like I said, he's the mechanic. He's kind of the serious guy, as to where Larry's always cracking jokes. He's arrogant. Deke is he's very serious. He rarely ever makes a joke. I found him to be the more likable of the two, just because those are the kind of people I like. He's kind of a narcissist. He doesn't have a lot of faith in much. He doesn't exactly. He's not super trusting. He's always thinking things are going to go wrong. And so basically, the entire movie is the three of them, trying to elude the police. And the whole movie is them being chased by the police. Numerous cop cars, helicopters. And on paper, this isn't really my kind of movie. These aren't the kinds of movies that I watch. I did like some of the car chase type movies back when I was a little kid and maybe in my teen years, but in my adult years, I watch mostly horror movies and stuff, maybe sci-fi. I would probably never watch a movie made like this nowadays. First of all, I don't need a bunch of movies like this, and if I'm gonna watch a movie like this, I'm gonna go for something like this from the '70s. Where I think this movie really excels is the characters. Yeah, there's only three main characters, but they're all great. They all have a lot to say. They all have individual personalities. You slowly get to know them. You feel like you're in the car with the three of them because most of the movie is them three in the car. You know, they're driving 90% of the time, and you feel like you're getting to know them as the movie progresses. You get attached to all three of them in their own individual ways, and that's where movies like this. I'm not going to say something like movies like this don't get made anymore, but I mean, movies like this are rare these days, especially with the character development. This is nothing new. I'm not, this is not. I'm not intelligent to say that. This is just a fact. This is a problem that we've had in cinema for at least the last 30 years, if not going on 40. Character development is just almost a thing of the past. No, not completely. There's still plenty of good screenwriters. There's still plenty of good directors, but they're kind of few and far between as far as character development. You can only rely so much on the actors. A great actor is nothing without a good screenplay, without good writing, good character development. The actors don't write their parts; they just act them. And that's where movies, that's where movies from the '70s really excelled. Was, you always had well fleshed out and likable characters. Again, something sorely missing these days. I'm not going to say you don't ever see it anymore, but you don't see it enough. I just really, really kind of fell in love with the three of these characters. I loved this movie. I don't really have much else to say about it. The ending, I'm not going to spoil it because some of you might want to see this. I'd highly recommend it, but the ending, I did not like the ending. It makes it for a fairly unique movie. Let's just put it this way. A lot of these movies kind of have a great ending, a happy ending, and this movie does not necessarily have a happy ending. I'll just leave it at that. But again, not really my type of movie. I don't watch a lot of these, at least not since I was a little kid. I loved this movie. I'd watch it again. Despite hating the ending and being kind of down on it, I will definitely watch this movie again. As for a score, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 9.5 out of 10. I liked it that much. And I'm serious because, how many of these types of movies do you see me talk about? Never. You're not gonna see me review movies like this very often. So I'd recommend this movie to anyone that just likes good movies. If you're a fan of 70s car chase movies, this is a mandatory watch, and you've probably already seen it. But if you just want to watch something that is just good, I highly recommend this to just about anyone who's into good cinema. Anyways, 9.5 out of 10, highly recommended. If you've seen this, let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. If you haven't seen it, find it somewhere. Find a way to watch it. Come back to me and let me know. Anyways, cheers, guys.